If you've been playing Minecraft for a little bit of time now, you probably hate the vanilla weather cycle. And that's because it just never seems to work. It seems like if you don't sleep, or if you do sleep, it is just constantly raining. And whenever it's constantly raining, there's really not much you can do about it other than wait for the weather to clear. Well, today I bring you a fix for that problem that's been plaguing Minecraft for a very long time now. That is the weather stick. Okay, so honestly, the stick doesn't really do anything. It just brings up a menu, and that menu is what actually helps with this problem. But it was super cool to say the weather stick, right? Okay, maybe not. I'll see my way out. All jokes aside, if you have watched the Project Bedrock server, you may or may not know that weather on the server has been artificially controlled for some time. In Season 1, it started out by just being artificially controlled by a command block timer that I ended up designing that is also on a tutorial. And you can of course find that on my channel. However, with Season 2, I figured that I would implement that into a pack. That way we didn't have to have a ticking area in the world, and it would just run a little bit more efficient for the server. This pack that was on the Project Bedrock server was not officially released because, well, I didn't do a ton of testing other than the in-game testing on the server, and it actually seemed to work pretty good. So what I have done is completely rewritten the entire pack, and now the pack is even more adjustable. That way you truly have the max amount of control over your weather in your Minecraft world. So what do you say, enough jibber jabber? Let's get into how to actually use this pack and how the pack works. So the first thing that you're going to need is to find a stick, and then you're going to take an anvil and basically name this stick all lowercase weather, which is officially the weather stick. And then once you have that weather stick, you're just going to left click with that, and that's going to bring up a GUI. So just to do a quick rundown of the GUI, we have enable clear, enable rain, and enable thunder. These are the three separate scopes that are going to run this pack, and I'll get into more of how these work here shortly. However, the important thing is you can disable the clear or the rain or the thunder. The next is going to be the pack weather cycle. Now all of these values are going to be default except for this one. I have turned this one off for the intro of this video. However, this will default be on whenever you install the pack. The vanilla weather cycle is going to be off by default. You can turn this on if you wish to have the horrible vanilla weather, which you probably don't, stating that you have installed this pack. However, it's good to have an option to revert back to it if you need to. World weather notifications are going to be a global notification type, which means this is going to notify each and every player in the world. I might eventually make this to where it is a tagging system to where you can turn it on and off by the default to notify all players. However, the only players that would have the tag would be the ones that would be notified. The global notification type is going to give you a choice between message or the action bar. So this would send a message to you, and the action bar would basically populate right above your hotbar and tell you what the weather type is whenever it changes. You can scroll down a little further and see set weather, and you could set the weather from here. So if you wanted it to rain, you could just select rain, hit submit, and it's going to start raining. Now, your question that you may have is, well, I don't want every player in the world to be changing the weather whenever they want. And that's very important to know because you do also have to have a weather admin tag in order to use this menu. So you can see if I list the tags, I have the weather admin tag, and that's what's going to allow me to use this. And if I remove that tag, no matter how much I click with the stick, it's not going to allow me to actually bring up that menu. So we can add that tag back and then click with that. It's going to bring up the menu again, and then we could continue scrolling down. Now here is where we get into all of our adjustments. We have minimum clear time, maximum clear time, and clear clock max number. We also have the same numbers for the rain and the same numbers for the thunder. If you want to go back to the default values that you see here in all of these text fields, you can just hit the set forms back to default, and that will reset only all of these text fields. It will not reset any of this. So let's go over what we're actually looking at here. The minimum clear time is going to be the amount in minutes, and it's going to be the same for the maximum clear time. So both of these are in minutes. So if we wanted it to stay clear for at least 5 minutes, then we're going to put the 5 here. Or if you wanted 10, you could put 10 there. Then it's going to be clear for at least 10 minutes. Maximum clear times is set to 120, which means it's going to be clear for a maximum of 120 minutes. And then once it runs out of that 120 minutes, then it is going to basically set it to either rain or thunder, which is chosen at random. And then you have the same thing for the minimum and maximum rain and minimum and maximum thunder. Now the third value at the bottom, we have clear clock max number. And this is going to be a little bit more complicated. However, this number is going to be the max number of the range that the randomizer will pick between 1 and this number. So for example, the starting number is always going to be 1, and the ending number is going to be what this is set at. So for example, if this is set at 25, the randomizer is going to pick a number between 1 and 25 every minute, and then the trigger number for all three of these are set to 1. So if it picks a 1 whenever it's choosing a random number each minute, then it's going to start clearing, or it's going to start raining, or it's going to start thundering. So with the rain, the max number would be 1 and 100. So it would be picking a number between 1 and 100. If it lands on 1, then it will start raining. And then the same thing for the thunder. It will pick a number between 1 and 200. If it lands on 1, then it will start thundering. The reason why that's important is because you can use the clock max number field in order to determine how often or how rare rain is. So for example, if we put the rain max clock number down here to 2 and the pack weather cycle is enabled, then it's going to pick a number between 1 and 2, and whenever it chooses a 1, it's going to make it start raining, which it's going to do very often because it only has a 50% chance between 1 and 2. However, if you set this to 2000, then it's going to pick a number between 1 and 2000, and it has to land on 1 out of all those numbers in order to make it start raining, making rain very rare. So as you can see, you can use this pack to make rain or thunder or clearing very, very rare, and it's totally customizable depending on how you want to set it up. Now if we go down here, enable the form, and then we're just going to set this back to the defaults. I do need some community feedback to see if these defaults are a good default to release this pack with. So test this out, let me know if you think that it should rain a little more, rain a little less, or thunder more, thunder less. Let me know and I can change these root defaults for the next update of the pack. Now once I enable this clock, you're going to see a few things happen. The first of which is the weather is going to go a little on the crazy side, and the reason for that is I'm running this clock every second instead of every minute. That way we don't have to wait around a long time to see any changes that we make to the pack. And the next thing you're going to see is some text on screen, which is strictly for debugging the pack. This is not going to be included in the release. So let's go ahead and enable this, and you'll see some text pop up. And as you can see, you have a bunch of values that are running basically all over the place. So let me go down these and I'll explain them. The first is the clear number, and this is showing the number that is randomly chosen on the clear clock, if you will. And like I said, whenever it lands on 1, like it just did, it's going to run a clear, as long as it's not already clear. The same thing goes for the rain and the thunder. So you can see it's bouncing all over the place, and whenever those land on the 1, it's going to either make it rain or make it thunder. You can see the current weather is currently on clear. Whenever this actually changes and it lands on 1, then it is going to change that to whatever state the weather is currently at. And then you can see the first clear counter and the second clear counter. Now this is pretty interesting how I've made this work. If we go down here and we set the weather to rain, you will see that it will start raining, everything will reset, and then that rain counter is going to be at 0, and then the first rain counter is going to start going up first. Once it reaches that minimum rain time, it's then going to start ticking up that second rain counter, which is just labeled rain counter, and that's basically the amount of time of minutes that has passed. And that's how the pack is keeping track of everything with the rain. So once that reaches the value set here on that rain counter, which is 20, it's going to automatically clear the weather. It's basically going to do the same thing for all of those fields. And then if you go down to the very bottom, you see can be cleared, and this is basically a lockout to lock these from changing the weather. So if it is currently ticking up any of the first counters, which is clear, rain, or thunder, which is going to be set by the minimum values, it's going to lock it out to where it cannot be cleared, which basically means you will be guaranteed the state of weather that you are currently set at. Now the clear clock does work slightly different than the rain and thunder clocks. Whenever it reaches the maximum clear time, it's going to choose between rain and thunder. However, whenever it reaches the maximum rain time or thunder time, it's just going to clear the weather. Now, I've thought about adding the rain and thunder into this as an option. However, I didn't want to make a possibility to where it was always raining or thundering, because, well, if that's the case, you might as well just have the vanilla weather cycle. So any of the notifications on here that you toggle, it's just going to send it to the player that is using the actual form. So if we toggle on world notifications, now because I have the debug enabled, it's going to basically flood the messages. So it's on messages by default, but if I hit submit, you should be able to see it for a brief moment. And it's basically saying that the notifications have been set to true. Well, you know, to be honest, I'm probably done with the debug information on this tutorial, so I can just do a quick reload here. And since I just reloaded that, it's going to set all of the pack values back to the default setting. Now, all of these form notifications, as mentioned, are going to be sent to the player that's actually using the form. So if you set this to, say, 50 on the minimum clear time, then that's going to let you know that it was set to 50. Same thing if you change multiple values at once, it's going to let you know the multiple values that have been changed. However, the global notification type is only going to send messages if world weather notifications is enabled to all players. So if you want it to send to all players messages, which is what it's set to default, you would just toggle this. And then just to show you this, I can set this to rain. And then you can see it started to rain, and we're also going to get the weather was set to rain, which is going to only be sent to you, but it started to rain would be sent to all players. Same thing if the weather went to the thunder, then if you hit submit, it's going to say to all of the players it started to thunder, and just let the player with the form know that it was set to thunder. And of course, if we set that to clear, we're going to get rid of that rain. It's going to let everybody know that the sun came out and the weather was set to clear, which is wonderful. Now, with this being the very first release of this pack, I would most certainly say to expect a few bugs, as it typically takes a couple versions to get all the bugs worked out, although I have tested this as good as I can, so it should work pretty well for you. It's just going to need a little bit of polishing. It did take quite a bit for me to wrap my head around creating this kind of algorithm to make this pack work. So by all means, let me know your feedback. Let me know if the default values are good where they're at, or if I should adjust them further. The default values were from the actual Project Bedrock pack that I used, so it should be fairly close to what we liked on the Project Bedrock server. But of course, all of this is changeable in the pack, so if you prefer something different, well, now you have the ability to change it. With that being said, the pack is downloadable on my website, so you'll be able to find a link for that in the top right and also down inside the description. As always, questions, comments, concerns, drop them down inside the comments below, or you can join my public Discord if you just want to come hang out, get your questions answered, or just join a great community. With that being said, that'll be all for me. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Oh, and if you haven't seen the video where I made this F3 screen, that'll be down inside the description below. You will definitely want to download this.